You know what? There does seem to be some weird stretchiness going on with this compared to how it looked in the game. Let me reset transformation, transform, fit to screen. Ah, there was some. Okay, so it's weirdly stretched. Okay, I'm glad I noticed that. Settings. Video. Now let me a little better, but not quite what we're aiming for. Settings, video. This is the one I'm looking for? Yep. Hello everybody, welcome back to PowerWash Simulator. I just sat here for 5 minutes playing around with my aspect ratio. Apparently it was all squished and stretched horizontally. So apologies for every episode up until now. I'll be honest with you guys, aspect ratio, frame rate, all of that good stuff, that's not necessarily stuff that I ever have paid attention to in my life. I just grew up watching and playing. I really didn't understand the technical aspects, but doing YouTube and being a streamer, I tend to pay more attention now to the finer details. I don't always get it right. Sometimes I screw up. But I do correct the mistakes when I find them. And probably looks a lot better now and less stretched out, eh? All right, we're going to finish this teacup up today and move on to something else. I got to tell you, I really like streaming on YouTube. I feel more home. I don't have to worry about extra stuff. Very simple, very to the point. Shoot you in your face. Where are my kitty cats? Did we even stop to look for them last time? Did we pet them? I don't know that we did. I'm gonna find them before I carry on. Thing is, I bet I can sling you if I try. No, probably not. I've been in rough shape this past month. I burned myself out with Jurassic June this year. I was trying to do too much. And trying to do too much both, on my YouTube channel as well as IRL. I was making some big life changes IRL, as well as doing stuff for the channel, and I overextended myself. So I just kind of been fiddle farting around. during July and this far into August. Today's the 10th. So, but I'm starting to feel a little bit better today. It's a Monday. I'm back on my grind. I'm not trying to overdo it. I'm just doing what I can and what feels natural and moving along with my day. Things have been crazy this year, though. I mean, things have been just absolutely bonkers. But I gotta tell you guys, I feel a hell of a lot better. I have been kind of withdrawing inward and moving away from the internet and kind of going back to a world that's like pre-internet, pre-smartphone. I mean, I'm still like watching YouTube and streams and stuff to occupy my time, but that just replaces television. At this point, we've closed down the Patreon, so my stuff is back to being completely non-monetized, because the only place I'm monetized on the entirety of the internet is Twitch, and we're not even streaming on Twitch right now. So we're back to completely free content, 110% free. If you don't have an ad blocker, that's on you. YouTube says they're against their terms of service, but I'm going to tell you a little secret. They can't actually do that and get away with it. They don't have a way to stop you. People are always going to find workarounds, but that's neither here nor there. I have gotten rid of so many apps on my phone. Threads was the last to go. It was the last app that I spent any time just scrolling on my goal is no more endless scrolling. Like that's done. I'm not doing that anymore. We are done with just holding my phone in my hand and scrolling apps and looking at stuff. No. I'm removing that from my life completely. I don't have any games left on my phone other than Pokemon Go. I have had a lot of ups and downs with that as well, but we'll get into that here in a minute. Yeah, like I don't just sit and doom scroll anymore, and I'm so much happier for it. I have cleaned up my phone, cleaned up my act. My internet footprint is decent now. I'm not like leaving comments and getting jumped by jackasses. And here's the thing. I never really left any nasty comments on people's stuff. I always just left general comments and tried to have general conversations with people. People are just trolls, man. There we go. It's unfortunate. But it is slowly changing my outlook. I would definitely say 2026 has been the most vast, the most thorough and deeply satisfying life improvement era that I've had ever. I highly recommend it. And like, here's the thing. I'm not coming from a place of like, oh, I'm 19 or 20 years old and I have no life experience and I just sit in a dirty room and I don't go to work every day and I don't take care of my hygiene and I just sit and play shooting games. Completely different era of a human life, completely different person from who I am. That is not at all. Like, I ended up where I ended up because of a wide variety of things. Not all within my realm of control. I would say most of it was out of my control. But, you know, it's like they say, what's important is not what happens to you, but how you react and how you move forward. So, And it, you know, it's unfortunate, but sometimes that's just the way of the world, you know. A lot of people from my generation are have started later in life, in their 30s or 40s or whatever. Sometimes it just takes us a little longer, but that's okay. I tell you, one of the things that helped too is like I'm using Instagram. I'm posting photos on Instagram, but I'm not using Instagram to look at other people. I've decided to pull back. So I open the app, I post my content, I close the app. That's all there is to it. No more scrolling other people's feeds, no more looking at stuff. Just done. Done. Every day when I get up now, I live like a farmer or something. You know, the first thing I do when I get up is I spend a little bit of time decompressing or waking up, about 10-ish minutes. I don't immediately reach for my phone anymore and immediately go to apps to scroll news feed. Nah, no news. And you know, it's funny, I was thinking about that this morning too. Like my generation, my parents' generation, why were they so obsessed with the news? That's my grandparents and my parents both, my aunts, my uncles. Every time you would ever go to visit anybody, they always had it on the news. Everybody had to come home from work and sit down with dinner and watch the evening news. And that was fine back in the day when you were watching a local channel that was just getting you caught up on things that were happening in your community. But the birth of things like CNN and what have you, turning everything into a 24-hour news cycle, that's just not, it's not good for you. Humans weren't meant to like maintain that kind of mentality. So you really should. And then you have things like Fox News, which is just the root of all evil. I mean, you can't, it doesn't get any more propagandary and evil than that. You gotta be completely like brain dead to watch anything on that network. But yeah, I've decided to kind of put, and I'm not saying this will work for you. I'm not saying this will work for everybody. I'm not even saying this is a good idea, what I'm about to say. But we all have friends, family, co-workers. The news that is meant for you will find you. You know what I mean? I don't know at what point in human history keeping up with news so obsessively became the norm, but and there are people who argue and say that what I'm doing is not good. You're burying your head in the sand. You're not living up to your part of the social contract. You're not being a productive member of society, yada, 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 yada. You know what? You might be right, but here's the thing. Society is not all that it's cracked up to be, and society is different for different people, and everybody has a different experience. And for me personally, society has been not so kind to me or my people, and I don't give a shit about society. I will still care about the individual person or persons. I will still live my utilitarian lifestyle of doing the most good for the most people, with the caveat of not forcing anybody to give up individual liberties. I'm not here to be a dictator. I just, you know, I live my life empathy based. Like my morals are empathy based morals. They're not like founded on some religion or some bullshit. So while society has kind of always been a dick, I've spent enough time over the years like letting it control me and letting it sour my experience in life and in the world. And I'm over it at this point. You know, I'm deciding to choose happiness. I'm deciding to go my own way and do my own thing. And for me, That's avoiding the constant barrage of nonsense from the outside world. And I told Tyler as much, early this year, or it may have even been last year. I was like, hey, I need you to, no, I think it was earlier this year. I said, hey, buddy, I need you to do me a favor. I need to get a hold of myself, and I need to become more grounded, and I need to like get my shit together. I'm going to withdraw from looking at the news every day because it's become too much. If you see anything in the news that you feel that I just really need to know about, like it's really super important and could actually affect my life, tell me. Like, let me know. But just this I don't think ever in human history have things been as ridiculous as they are now. The billionaires running amok, no system of checks and balances on them whatsoever. They're running for office now and winning and ruining the country and the world by proxy, and it's just no. It was too much. I had kind of forgotten, how to live on a non-global scale. So, I'm doing very well. I still have my struggles. I still have my challenges. But things are definitely more manageable now. So I'm probably going to let this be a permanent change. I have heard that some people have just straight up gone back to like flip phones. They don't do anything other than maybe calling and texting. They've just given up completely on like smartphones, and I get that. I do. That's respectable. But for me, I just didn't want to give up the technology. Like, I didn't want to give up being able to watch streams and stuff on my phone. I didn't want to give up being able to read articles and look stuff up if I wanted to Google something. Like, I really enjoy being able to just like pull out the device, look something up if I don't know something. I like that. For me, that was like, I didn't want to give that aspect up. Then I was still playing Pokemon Go up until recently, so. When Pokemon Go first came out in 2016, I was apprehensive about it. I was on the fence. I was at the gym when the app was released for me. I remember I'd always get done with my workout, or whatever you'll call it, the gym. And I went to the gym with my roommate, my buddy at the time, so we could just, carpool and save that way. And he'd always shower at the gym, and then I would come home and shower here. Two birds, one stone, kept it simple. So I was sitting in the car waiting on him, and I remember looking, I guess at the time I'd have been on Twitter or whatever, wherever I got my news back then. And this would have been 2016, I think. And I remember seeing, oh, Pokemon Go is now available in some places. I installed it on my phone. I remember, again, I already didn't like mobile apps and mobile game. I didn't do mobile games. So I was very apprehensive, and I ended up not playing it at first. It would be almost a full year later in 2017 before I really got on the Pokemon Go bandwagon. And after 2017, I played Pokemon Go religiously. It was my obsession for years. And I'll be honest with you, I will always maintain Niantic was one of the worst, is the worst company that I've ever had the misfortune of having to deal with in my entire life. Niantic was just the worst. But that aside, Pokemon Go has probably been the game that I've played the most and enjoyed the most. And it's ironic in a way, I suppose. I've spent so long being against like mobile apps, mobile games. I'm always kind of like anti whatever's popular. I'm anti pop culture a lot of the times. A lot of times I can have the defiance disorder thing pop up and be a problem for me. A lot's going on there mentally. But Pokemon Go was my thing, you know. I made a lot of friends, traveled to places I'd never traveled before, got out of the house more often, was more mobile. And a lot of times Niantic would make stupid decisions that would cause me to rage, but I'd get over it, keep playing the game. And I spent years not giving them any real world money, and I finally caved. Eventually. I did cave and start spending a little bit of money on it, but the game, after about 8 to 9 years, the game really started to I'd say after about 7 to 8 years, the game slowed down to a point to where it was really kind of hard to play it anymore. The player base was dialing off. People IRL for me were not playing as much anymore. The Pokemon were no longer, you weren't releasing as many. They were starting to put them behind ridiculous like tasks or eggs, and it was just not the same as it was. It had seen its heyday. It had jumped the shark. Niantic was becoming increasingly desperate to make money. Every little aspect of the game was now being monetized. It wasn't great. Then about year 8, some new people came in locally where I live and really started fucking with shit. They were young. They were like in their early 20s. They were young and stupid and bold and chaotic, and they caused some trouble. And I've told that story on the channel before. I'm not going to tell it again. But honestly, that ruined the game for me in its entirety. And I didn't all out quit playing it, but I quit playing as much. And then quit playing as much turned into hardly ever played it at all. It just became so tedious, so annoying to turn on. Then the new people stopped playing, and the sense of community was just dead and gone. I made the decision to leave Facebook. I wanted off of Meta. I had deleted everything. My Instagram included, everything gone. So the community that I had been a part of on Facebook for a long time, gone. I was shifting my mentality into more of a, like I've been doing this year, like I've been talking about this whole time, this whole episode. I was shifting away from the way I'd always done things, shifting away from just being terminally online, and a large part of that was getting rid of a lot of these, a lot of things like Facebook. So that was the final nail in the coffin for me. Then the news came out that our data that we had spent years building, location data, had been used to train drones and had been used for drone strikes, and they were, killing innocent people, children, bombing hospitals and things like that. And a lot of people deleted their Pokemon Go accounts after that, myself included. So nearly a decade worth of Pokemon Go data gone forever. And I had a few weak moments where I like emailed Niantic and tried to get my account back, but it was too late. Once you submit that deletion request and they delete it, it's gone. Then a few months go by and I start, really missing it, and I start getting the craving, and I decide, well, I'll make a new account and start over from scratch. Not the best thing in the world. It's not ideal, but I just miss it too much. I like Pokemon too much. So I spend a week or so playing it. At this point, I'm spoofing. I'm not even out playing it anymore. I've downloaded one of those spoofer like versions of the game, and I'm just playing for home. And it's like Go Fest 2026. So I'm getting a ton of extra experience. I'm, getting all the starters back again. Everything looks great. I'm fast tracking, building a new. Yeah. Then I read an article, because I'm still on Threads at this point, right? This just like last month. I read an article that gives me all the finer details of what Niantic did and what was done with our data. And then news went so far as to lie about it. So Niantic tried to say that it wasn't directly used, but it was still used. So I decided it was best to rest on my morals and stand with everyone. And I deleted that account. Gone. Gone. Which is a shame, because it was a really good like opportunity to get back what was lost and do it quickly. But I'd made a post about it in the Discord and everything, and showed everybody the receipts of it, you know, about what Niantic had done. Then a little time went by, a week or so. I started feeling the itch again. Started to miss it again. Started to miss my Pokemon. I made a third account. Because I'm weak. And I'm a piece of shit. And I tried to justify it in my head. I said, well, Niantic's gone. Skullplay is a new company. They just bought Niantic. They bought the game. They removed the ability to scan Pokestops and scan real environments. They took all that out, gutted it. Just made it a simple location-based game now. And I thought, well, it's a little too late. Your damage is done. But in an attempt to justify it in my own head and be a hypocrite, I thought, okay, we'll see how this new company handles things. Because I reactivated my Facebook and got in contact with some people, you know, that had been that I had been playing the game with before. And I said, yeah, I listened to the internet and deleted my account. Here's my new account. And that was the second account I mentioned. That was the second time. That one's deleted and gone now too. So I can't with I can't go back to those people and say, okay, I have a third account. But you see, I am a sheep. I've always been a sheep. And I'm happy about it. A lot of it comes from... Is this as high as this will go? A lot of it comes from just being ignorant on things. And then some of it's my personality. And I know it's not good. I know it's not good for me. But it is what it is at the end of the day. I know that's a cop-out answer, but it just is. I am extremely vulnerable to lies and manipulation. I don't have a good lie radar. I have a hard time telling when somebody's bullshitting me. I like to think that over the years I've started to really learn better and I'm doing better with it, but I'm still not great with that. So I'll believe almost anything you tell me because I don't know any better. But I do listen to a lot of people. And I let people get in my head. And I let decisions be made for me. And losing my Pokemon Go and all my Pokemon was probably the biggest example of letting myself like go with the flow of what everybody else is doing. And not making a decision for myself. No, it was a good decision in a vacuum. You know, fuck Niantic, they did something pretty bad. Yeah. But regardless of how you feel, it's been like 3 days since I made that third account, and the fun is already kind of wearing off for me after 3 days of like just sitting around and playing it, you know, through the spoofing app. And I don't know. You know, I don't know what the future holds for me with Pokemon Go. I don't know what the future holds for me as far as gaming in general is concerned, because right now gaming is in a really rough spot. AI is kind of problem at the moment. When it comes to technology in general, AI is kind of ruining everything, and I don't know what's going to happen, you know. I saw the other day, I was watching this YouTube video that said that 3 of the world's billionaires right now are racing to have full control over AI and have like the best models. And that's probably going to spell the end of humanity, they're saying. I don't know. I don't know. The world has become an almost unrecognizable place from when I was a kid. It's become a scary place. I stuck it out as long as I could. You know, I tried. You know, I got informed, got involved, went out and voted. Did my best. Did my best to try to stop dictators from becoming president. Did my best to try and stop. It's funny because I was watching another thing the other day where Hillary Clinton was talking about, and it just has nothing to do with how you feel about her. It's just something I saw. She was talking about how, you know, post 9/11, she spent a lot of time in the Middle East. You know, she spent time in, she had been inside Hussein's palace. She had seen dictators in the Middle East before and how they decorate their homes and their palaces and whatnot. And they're all gold trimmed nightmares. And that's exactly what Dumb Dumb Stupid is turning the White House into, like a temple to praise himself in. And it's, I can't anymore. I can't. So you can judge me if you want for my back and forth. You can judge me for my problems, my mental problems. You can judge me for the decisions you can judge me for a lot of stuff. But I hope at least you can empathize and understand with me taking the actions that I've taken, making the decisions or not making the decisions that have been made or not made. I think any decent human being can kind of agree with me that things are just stupid. Where am I missing a spot? The window? Like, I don't know what this little dot is supposed... Like, it's inside the building? I can't get inside the building. I'm a little confused. Roof, wall, base, upper window. Okay. Roof. Where on the roof? Activity top. I don't know, man. I'm pressing the hint button, but it's not showing me. Hmm. Let me in. Already cleaned that, though. I can't fathom what is left. Where? Where? Oh my God. You go up so high. Well, this job turned into a nightmare. Okay. How did we do this last time? How do I see what's left? Oh God, no. Job summary. Lower window. I can't find that menu that we had in the first game. But you gotta move. You're in my way. Like where? There's literally nothing. There's no dirt left. No dirt. Like, ooh, one tiny little microscopic dot. Where? 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 I hate you. I hate you so much. Ooh, you stupid job. You know, and there have been plenty of times where, again, I say I'm going to do something, I try it, I just fall back on old habits and things like that. Sometimes that's just human nature. Sometimes life is hard. Sometimes it's difficult to do the big move forward. You know what I mean? But I feel in my heart that what I'm working on right now, what I'm doing right now is what's best for me. Giant leaps forward of not dealing with any of this anymore. Ooh, a shooting gallery. What mind if I do? I've been to a few little rinky-dink carnivals they set up in like a Walmart parking lot or something. I've never been to a big one like this before. I've been to things like Six Flags, but I've never played a little game like this. Poor teddy bear. Booney Rabbit. And other teddy bear. I wonder how many people actually know that the teddy bear is named after President Roosevelt. Theodore Roosevelt. 'Teddy. 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 I don't know how many people know that. It's kind of useless to know that, but fun. One of the few presidents who wasn't a piece of shit. I think a lot of people are trying to find perfection in other human beings. I definitely think that was one of the problems that I, along with a lot of other people, had with this quote-unquote so-called cancel culture that cropped up in the mid-20 teens. Like, holding people responsible for their shitty behavior is, yes, that is fantastic. That is great. Absolutely perfect. You must do that. I wholeheartedly agree you must do that. Oh, no, I can't reach you to pet you. Oh, interesting. So I cannot pet the cat on every job. You are out of reach. No. Anywho. Yeah, I always called it consequence culture because you had this whole social movement of like exposing people for their shitty behavior. That part I liked. People who I think some people were apprehensive with it because it was misused. Sometimes it was misused. Sometimes people would abuse hashtags and abuse like social movements and things just so they could like be counter to it, and I don't know. Some people just didn't want their shitty behavior exposed, I think. But no, nobody's perfect. Everybody's going to do one or two things you don't agree with, and that's just the nature of reality. I think we all need to accept that. And no, that's not me making an excuse for somebody who did something horrible. I'm saying that there's nobody on this earth that you're going to find perfect. It could be something as simple as your partner chewing something the wrong way and it just bothers you. There's always going to be something. Yeah, I guess in this day and age you call your husband, your wife, or whatever your partner. I guess that's become the new like standard thing to say. And I was kind of thinking, I get it. But I grew up most of my life hearing husband and wife. But then there are non-binary people too, so your partner makes more sense. Then the other day I was watching this YouTube video, and this guy was like, speaking about one of his coworkers, he's like, yeah, he's going to go home to his woman. And I was like, oh, that hits the ear wrong this day and age. I didn't like that. I mean, there's nothing inherently wrong with it, but sounds weird to hear. Like, I think we've gotten to a point to where we've pushed for a lot in the past decade. And so much has changed. We've progressed. So when you hear something from the old world, it kind of hits the ear wrong. And you're like, Sounds like something I would say in a way where I'm like winking at it. Because I do that a lot too. And I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, I've said a lot of shit on this channel over the past decade where I think because of my tone and my personality and whatever, some people might think that I get the wrong idea. Now, don't get me wrong. There's still a lot of shit I've said that I probably wouldn't say again, given the chance. I've said stupid shit. Everybody does. But there have been a few times where I've said something that's maybe not okay-ish. And I said it because I was winking at it and being ironic. So, I don't know. So far, no complaints. I take that back. I had, in the entire time I've been on YouTube, outside of people like maybe leaving general comments of how I can improve the channel or something like that, I did have a comment years ago where somebody was like, "Oh, you need to edit out the burps. I'm sitting here, I'm watching your channel, I'm vibing, I'm in the zone, and then all of a sudden, burp." They were not a fan. I did get that comment one time. Understandable. I don't disagree. But also, I think that's going to vary depending on the person's sensibilities. It depends on how you were raised. If you were raised like, "It's a cat," you know, I think, again, yeah, it really depends on the household you were raised in. Were you raised with a family that was heavy leaning on manners? Or did you just burp and fart as you pleased? Maybe said excuse me, but did it anyway? Or maybe you just did the burping and the farting and didn't say anything. Maybe, I don't know. What can't open? I talked myself into exhaustion. I also know that humans typically don't like change. So I think that's why a lot of people fight for quote unquote traditions. Yet you will have your religious type that whine about stuff. "Oh, it's because of my religion says this, that, and the other." Well, just bear in mind, your religion says that you can't do stuff. You are held to that standard, not the rest of us. Then again, religion has that built-in, like, it can never be wrong about anything factor that really gets under my skin. Everything's proactive. So if you find like a flaw or a contradictory statement, if you find anything that's, it's like, no, look the other way. Stupid. These plushies are going to be soaked. Is this like a, what's this made out of? Like a hard plastic? These tent walls? Like those cheap vinyl tablecloths you can buy if you're going to be like doing outdoor stuff. Speaking of outdoors, I need to mow the lawn, the backyard. I did the front yard the other day. But there's a heat advisory and it's just too damn hot. Too dangerous. End up with a heat stroke. I think it was 91 degrees today. Yeah, my computer says it's currently 91 degrees Fahrenheit, which is give or take 40 degrees Celsius. Like it's around the 40-degree mark. It's hot. It's very hot. I'm doing better with Celsius. I don't know how to calculate Celsius, but I'm learning Celsius at different intervals. Like I'm learning what Celsius is at 90, 85, 80, 75, 70, 65, 60. I'm trying to learn those. Because even if you learn it by fives, that's good enough to get you by. It would be nice if the United States just fucked off and adopted the same measuring systems as the rest of the world, but U.S. has to be special. The 91 degrees F is what the 32. I was way off. Good thing I Googled. 40 would probably be way up in the hundreds. Okay, so it's like 32 degrees Celsius here today, which is hot. Stupid hot. So I don't want to go out and mow the lawn in that. I don't know that I could with all the health problems I have. Boy. Let's see a little butterfly. Ew. Ew. Can I open this? I've been thinking about getting a generator for my home. We don't typically lose power unless it storms really, really badly. And they usually do a pretty good job about restoring it quickly. I think the longest we ever went without power due to storms was, okay, I don't know how long the power was out in 1993 when we had that storm of the century, like blizzard that affected all of North and South America. I don't know how long our power was out. I know we had to evacuate. Other than that, maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, we had a storm and a tree came down on the power line and it took them like 3 days to fix it. So 2 whole full days without power. I was feral. I can't live without my electricity, man. At this point, I can't live without electricity and internet. I can go without anything else. I can tolerate the heat, the cold. I can do some fasting. I can even stay up a day or so, but I got to have my electricity. That ship has sailed. Your generation don't know how to live without electricity and television and smartphone. Yeah, you're right. We're not adapted to that. We didn't grow up that way. Fuck off. There we go. I guess I should probably start giving Gen Z and Alpha a little bit of a break when it comes to things like that. I'm pretty hard on them about stuff. But at the same time, I do need them to learn how to read an analog clock. And they probably should learn cursive. I think I'll keep dying on those 2 hills. Those feel important enough for me to ride their ass about. It's fake metal flag. I'm starting to get hungry. It's 4 p.m. and I haven't eaten since last night. My belly's starting to get the rumblies. All I've had today is tea. tea until I popped open the soda. Good old soda. That's another thing I don't think I can live without at this point. I'm so soda adapted. I gotta have it. There have been a few times over the years where I'm like, okay, I gotta get rid of the soda completely. I'm just gonna be a tea and water guy. And I think that's admirable for people who can do that and choose to do that. But like at this point, no, I'm good. I live the way that I live. At least I won't drink anything that's diet. Like I don't drink the full fat, full soda, sugary stuff. Like Diet Dr. Pepper is literally the only soda left I will drink. I don't even drink Sprite anymore. Nothing. And then I put artificial sweeteners in my, I use stevia and stuff in my tea. I don't use sugar in my tea either. I still love fruit though. Fruit is too good to give up. And there's not enough sugars in fruit to really do you any harm unless you're just a full-blown diabetic. I was pre-diabetic for a while. I thought that I had reached full-blown diabetes, but they're telling me that's not the case now. My doctor stuff has been screwing all over the place. My doctor, I really liked my doctor, but I think she might have been slipping, and then she retired. This year or last year? I think she retired last September, I think. I think she had kind of been slipping for a while. I don't know. All I know is the last visit that I ever had with that doctor, I got there, I did the automated check-in at the little kiosk where it scans your license and everything. Paid my little copay at the window, and then they took me back. That was pretty quick. I didn't have to sit there for long to get through that phase of the doctor's visit. But once I was in the little room in the back, I was there 3 hours. I shit you not. I was back there waiting for it was on a Monday. And I remember at the 2-hour mark, that's where I lost my patience. Like the first hour, I was like, oh wow, they're really busy today. During that second hour, I was kind of starting to lean towards, I can't believe this is happening. 2 hours? Am I going to need to find a different doctor's office? Am I going to have to make some changes? By the time 2 full hours had passed and I was starting to get into hour 3, I had to pee. I was running out of stuff to watch on my phone on YouTube. I'd watched all of the daily videos that had been put up by the people I subscribed to. I was out of stuff to do. I didn't bring my Switch with me or anything. And I was like, you know what? I'm done. Towards the end of hour 3, I walked to the door. Because every now and then I'd get up and walk around in there. I walked to the door, I opened the door, I looked out, it was deathly quiet, I didn't hear any people, I didn't hear any talking, I didn't see anybody. And I started to walk out of the room, and I saw a nurse walk by, and I was like, hey, come here. And she looked so, taken aback, like something had happened. And I was like, hey, I've been in here for going on 3 hours. Can I use the bathroom? She said, yeah, sure. 3 hours? You've been back here 3 hours? I was like, yeah. She's like, hang on a minute. And then she left and never came back. But not long after that, the doctor came. So I don't know if they completely forgot about me or what happened. I still to this day don't have an explanation. And I kind of just want to let it go. I mean, it makes a story for YouTube and everything. But I don't want to cry with the doctor's office because she retired after that. And I'm thinking something was up. Something had to be up. 3 hours. Somebody with lesser patience probably would have just left. But I was trying to be understanding, you know. You don't just leave a patient waiting for 3 hours without a damn good reason. And I didn't want to be rude. But at that point, like, I'm not doing myself any favors by being overly polite, too. So, you know, what do I do? Ping, 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 ping. Doodle, doodle, doodle. Branch. I lag before anybody says it. We are still only at 20% of this job. It's going to be a two-parter. Yeah, going back to what I was talking about when I first came in, I put up Pokemon Sun episode yesterday, and I still haven't named it yet. And I got one that comes out tomorrow that I still haven't named yet. And I've just been kind of rough. I've been having a little bit of a rough time mentally past month or two. You know, I'm still sticking to my guns, more or less. My diet's been fucked up and all over the place, and I'm not getting any exercise. But I am maintaining my sleep routine, which is difficult because it's being, for those of you who might be new or not know, I'm switching my sleep routine after 20 years of sleeping all day and being up all night. Taking a little bit of effort. It's not like flipping on a light switch. But I'm getting there. The more I do it, the easier it's getting. But yeah, I was supposed to be preparing for this trip that I got in a few weeks. And I've just been eating like garbage because of the depression, and path of least resistance has been what's keeping me sane. Unfortunately, that means staying fat, staying unhealthy, eating like shit. And don't get me wrong, the healthy eating is its own reward, but what kills me is this. I've gotten to that level of fat where you're just hungry even after you eat. Like, I'll eat a meal and immediately stomach still growls. And it's like, I've stretched out my stomach. And I don't mean like my torso, I mean my literal stomach organ is so just destroyed from decades of being a fat ass. I don't know if I could ever shrink it if I tried. I don't want any like invasive surgeries. I tried Ozempic. Ozempic didn't work because all my problems are in my head, not in my body. And Ozempic works if you have normal hunger cues. Ozempic works for people who might be just a little fat or might be obese, but I'm morbidly obese. I have like 100+ pounds to lose. Ozempic just didn't work for me. I ate right through it. It didn't change jack shit. But I think there might be some hope. You know, I heard this. I was watching this YouTube channel the other day. I've been really into watching cleaning channels lately. And the lady I was watching, she said she had read a book one time that said, if you don't change it, you choose it. Like, if you don't make changes and better yourself, then you are choosing to be in that terrible spot. Now, that's a lovely little sentiment. Obviously, it's not applicable to everybody everywhere. There are, there are going to be circumstances outside of your control. But most everyday, casual, normal people, that probably rings true for. Because, again, most people might have a problem where they, like, maybe you keep a bag of chips in your desk at work or something. You know, like, the problem is most people just don't have enough discipline. Most people are just in their routine and they're set, and it's a comfort thing for them. That's the average. Then you have cases of extreme morbidity where, is that how you say it? Where people are, morbidly obese and have really hardcore eating problems. And a lot of it stems from like psychological issues and stuff that need to be dealt with, but then they don't get the therapy to deal with it. Like in my case, I can't afford the therapy. And when I did go and get a little bit of help for it, they didn't really do much of anything. But at this point, I feel like there's no in between. There's no ifs. There's either do or don't, which your brain knows that, but I don't know. I always say an addict's brain is extremely difficult to understand unless you also have an addict's brain. It's like people will think about food addiction and they'll scoff at it. They're like, that's not meth. That's not crack. You're not an alcoholic. How the fuck are you addicted to food? Just put down the fork, fat ass. I partly agree with that. I get it. It's not hardcore drugs. I understand. But also, fuck you. An addict brain is an addict brain. Point blank, period. And I'm not one of those, ooh, let's not fat shame. Nah, let's fat shame. It's probably the only way fatty's ever going to put down the fork. But I'm also not saying bully somebody into suicide. What I am saying, though, is that don't climb up somebody's ass and give them a hard time because they're trying and failing. You never know what the fuck that person's got going on. Cut people some slack. Don't be a douche. But also don't be part of that like fat acceptance movement. That is stupid as all fucking hell. Healthy at every size. Let me take my blood pressure pills. And my diabetes shot. Fuck off with that. Healthy at every size. That is a contradictory thing. You can't be. Fuck off. Unhealthy, you bitch. And it's funny too because, people will say, oh, she couldn't help but run over those children with her car. She was an alcoholic. She had a problem she couldn't control. First of all, she ran over children with a car. Fuck her. Put her in prison. Number two, you can go to somebody and say, I've lost all control. Help me. It's not that fucking hard to do. But I understand not everybody is in that situation where they have people they can ask to help them. I mean, it's my case, is I don't have anybody to go to for help. But, people will not give fatties who are addicted to food the same. I've noticed that when it comes to, like, let's say a gambling addiction and food addiction, those two are usually shat on the most and given the least, like, grace out of addictive vices. Smoking is usually the most hand-waved one, or at least it used to be. Cigarettes have fallen out of favor so hard in society, just in general, even compared to what they were just 20 years ago. Hell, I used to smoke after growing up saying I never would. But it's like, yeah, alcohol and drugs are usually the two big ones where people are like, they couldn't help being addicted. They fell on hard times, and look at them. They got all cleaned up and they're doing well. They're X amount of years sober now. But you don't usually get the same empathy when you're just fat. This job seems to be going about as slow as the jobs we were doing back in the day. I guess I could have used my fancy smancy like Roomba on this. I didn't think about it until now. I kind of forgot about it, if I'm being honest. Let's see. To change doohickeys. Let's see. Look at that. I forgot all about this device. We could have been done in 2 seconds. Oh. Nobody reminded me either. Look at that. Look at that. Woo! That is some efficient washing. This would have been done a lot quicker. And I remembered this peripheral. My God. The power steamer. I feel crunchy. But I did not remember this. This thing is pretty tight too. I mean, just look how much I got done compared to how long it took me to do the other side. Wiggly wiggly. Shame. Damn. Jesus. That was stupid how fast that was. Wow. Wow. Wowzers. Hi. The little one. And unfortunately, I have to switch back to my other nozzle so that I can get this. Ooh, I bet I have to hit it from down here too. Yep. Okay. Not a problem. And this side. Huh. That actually worked. Huh. Give a damn. Look at the happy face bee. And then from destroyed. Thought I got this part earlier, but I guess not. Oh, yeah. Okay. I started in this general area, but didn't get the under part of it there. Where is my doohickey? Okay. Any part of it left dirty? I don't think so. Well. And I think I got that thing. Whatever you call that thing. And then, get all of this on the front before I move inside. Okay. I'll probably have to get a ladder and really get up there in those spots where the blue is. I don't know. Maybe we can hit it from this angle. I don't know. Yeah, I'll probably have to get up there with a ladder. Yep. Let's see. What do we have? We have regular ladder, tall ladder. I don't think I have the scaffolding or the lift, which is fine. I don't think we need them for this job. So yeah, on top of watching cleaning videos, I've started watching a new channel where I guess he started off taking down trees, and then I've been watching him demolish houses and stuff now. It is so satisfying to watch. Okay, let me hit the other side. I don't know. Like, I guess I'm just in my cleaning era. Like, cleaning up everything. Cleaning up my life. Cleaning up my mentals. Cleaning up my phone. Getting rid of stupid social medias that don't serve a purpose. Just cleaning it all up. Clean up everything. Except my potty mouth. I'll never fucking change my language. You can't make me. I can't imagine coming on here and doing this without being able to say fuckity fuck fuck fuck. I will say I do think about the cursing often, but then I also like it's so ingrained into what makes this funny and what makes this, you know, what I do fun. If I had to come on here and be so sterile and clean, and this just isn't me. I need to be able to say it like it is. I need to be free to express myself. Hear a loud truck outside. Oh god. Well, you sure do have a lot of nooks and crannies down here, don't you? I guess I need to do the one duck. Okay. I hear water. I guess it's the water in the tent. It's running the game. Good. Damn, that's hard to get. Every little... Did I get the whole thing? Oh, what? I think I might have. Okay, I think it's counting. not doing this. Let me wash you. I think the other sides may be dirty. Yeah, I never got around to doing these. There better not be like sort of super specific achievement for like using a particular hose or nozzle or whatever at a particular distance. Don't be that way. Don't be that way. Or cleaning it with that thing. A Bigfoot? Big feet? It is. You gotta let me wash you. I can get off up in there. Oh. Look at that. A target here. Oh. Okay. This is supposed to be where we live because there's a volcano nearby. It's scary. And it's scary, like, scary good sound for a carnival thing. Oh, yeah, look at that. Ah, you didn't let me clean the whole thing. Oh, yeah, it is where we live, because look, there's the statue. Look at you, bud. I'm gonna play that every time. I gotta get you from every angle. Face is clean. Ooh, your back is not though. Somebody graffitied it, so I got a super nozzle. Yeah, those damn kids. Who's SJ? So can I get up here to do the tough? His eyes. How dare you? How dare you, little shits? Everything from before is now just a carnival attraction. Lovely. Lovely. Well, we got a lot done today. There's no denying that. We talked a good bit. You're welcome. The beat's coming on here and saying nothing. Some of the things I've been trying to do obviously haven't taken root. Like one of the things with the YouTube channel specifically is I was trying to do like Skyrim Saturdays. I don't know. There's just something about Skyrim. It's the same as Minecraft. And I think this is a universal experience. You play it maybe for a week or so, and then you don't touch it again for a year. I don't know. But that's just how it is for me. I'll say to myself, well, I'm going to play this proper. I'm going to sit down and play it a little bit at a time. I'm not going to play it every day and wear myself out. I'll play maybe once a week or something like that. And I'll just pace myself. And no. It's such a hard game to stream too because it's so big. It's so involved. I may have to just do like the main story, and then when the main story's out of the way, we can kind of dick around and play it whenever I get the itch to play Skyrim. But you know what? I bet I have to. No, that was the case. And then there's this one too. But I think this is where we wrap it up for today. And we come back in next time. We'll work on this little thing. All right. Thanks for being here, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with me for another episode of PowerWash Simulator.